Onto Bitcoin and quantum computing, some of the people, some of the commentators have spoken about a 51% attack on Bitcoin because of the power of quantum computing. Could this happen? Will it happen? Or will Bitcoin just continue to get stronger and be able to withstand such attacks?
Well, obviously the commercial quantum industry is sort of in its infancy at this point, right? So we're just kind of like delving into it for the first time. So it's not at a place where it could do that right now, but in the very near future, it will be able to break through the Bitcoin, like unwind the entire blockchain, right? So it's not even that, it's a hack this way or another. It's like they could literally just simulate every single state of what the blockchain could be in, right, at one time, and just figure it out. So obviously that's an infinitely huge amount of math to think about, but with the rate that the industry is growing, right, if we're at 72 qubits and you have 16 sextillion options now, every single additional qubit you add to that, right, let's say, in 2 years there's 150 qubits, and then the year after that there's, 300 or whatever. We reach a point very quickly where that's totally possible for it to unwind the entire Bitcoin blockchain and figure that out, right? So Bitcoin can save itself by porting itself to a quantum algorithm and just kind of like keeping up with it, right? So it's like anything else. Back in the 80s and the 90s, we had older versions of encryptions that are no longer in use now. And the reason is because they're no longer secure based on the computing resources that we have at our disposal in 2020. And so the same type of deal will occur with Bitcoin, and they'll just have to port their algorithm into a quantum situation. And the tricky part about that is a lot of really good traditional computer programmers learning quantum computing programming is a totally different animal, right? It's nonlinear, and it's not the way the logic works is totally different. So if you were a Microsoft partner, for example, like an IT guy, they would just give you the resources to access their quantum computer and to write programs on it for free, because they're having such a hard time even getting people to adopt it, because it's such a just different way of thinking about computing. It's such a different computing paradigm in how you go about coding and how you go about conceptualizing the workflows. And so it's going to be a very interesting thing. Part of what I'm doing here is promoting the quantum industry and trying to, make it cool for the kids of tomorrow to get good at this stuff, right? Because that's ultimately who's going to be our best bets as far as like staying ahead of the game, is getting the younger kids that are just kind of like coming of age as in the dawn of this industry, right? So anybody else out there, if you're getting into that industry now, you're kind of on the ground floor essentially. It's kind of like the 1950s of the traditional computing, where you got the IBM 1, right?